Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is katekhmel, and I'm a couples therapist and a matchmaker, and astrology has been my hobby for a very long time, probably last 20 years. I typically don't make videos in English on astrology. I mostly do relationships tips and things like that. I do have an astrology course in Russian just because I don't really see much information about it in Russian, and that's actually where I'm from. But sometimes, interesting questions come up on astrology forum, and I actually, relationships, personal relationships, it's my specialty. So when we have an interesting discussion on a forum on the subject of relationships, then I may actually make a video about it. So we had a question, how to tell when and where will you meet your future spouse? Well, the question of when is a little bit more complicated, and we're not going to discuss it today. But the question where, I suggested something, and there was a lot of interest about it, and everybody just looked at their charts and remembered about their spouses, and it seemed to work in 85% of cases, including my I have a big database, considering that I'm a couples therapist and a matchmaker, so I do collect people's database. So yeah, 85%, which is a pretty good number. And it's a very simple technique that, you don't even have to be a professional astrologer to see it. Although a professional astrologer will definitely tell you more details about it. So, considering that Jupiter is a husband and a woman's chart, and Venus is a wife and a man's chart, so just the placement of these two planets seem to work out great. To give you an idea about where you will meet your spouse, you can look either from the moon or from your ascendant. In both cases, it's better if you have exact time of birth. Although for the moon chart, it would be okay to know at least approximately, maybe morning or evening. Otherwise, it will be a bit skewed, the results. And for those who don't know how to get the free chart, there are a lot of free charts on the internet. I'm talking about the Vedic chart, by the way. So for those who have no idea how to get it, you can email me. I will send you your chart for free. Okay, so you need to see basically just which house is your Venus or Jupiter. And it seems to work out pretty good, to give you an idea. I also have to mention that not every person you meet will be your husband or wife. To me personally, it happened only twice, 18 years apart. And actually, when it happened to me second time, I forgot about the first one completely, that something like this already happened before. So that's just something I have to mention. So if you have Jupiter or Venus in your first house, most of the time I see that a person comes to you either as a client, a patient, or maybe you were business partners at first, and then it developed into something else. So these are usually the most common situations. Second house, most of the time people met either in a restaurant, you know, a waitress or whatever it is, bartender maybe. um, Maybe in a glossary store. Yeah, I see people still meet actually in a glossary store. Also, a lot of times people met through the family in this case. And banks also I wouldn't exclude, yeah, because second house, you know, has to do with finances. So you could even meet in a bank. And third house, this one has a wide range. It can be any kind of media, but you know, what's the most popular media nowadays? It's internet. So third and 11th house, I see a lot of times people meet on the internet. It's, you know, kind of an exotic nowadays to meet in a bookstore, but still happens. Could be a bookstore. Also, you know, through younger siblings, yes, and third house is also a house of your neighbors, your hobbies. So you could meet through some kind of hobbies, especially it's something that you do close to home, maybe some clubs, you know, some errands that you do around home. So that's most of the time something like this happens. Fourth house also, a person will either live close by, like again a neighbor, or you could just meet close to home and somewhere in the neighborhood. A mother could introduce, and a person could be your realtor or, you know, home designer, or also I've seen people met in a car dealership, you know, they were buying a car and met somebody. So that could be something like this. And then fifth house, most of the time it's some kind of entertainment events, some fun events, sport events, you know, maybe it's a party, some competitions. Also, I've had a few cases when it's the case of divorced parents, you know, they came to pick up a child from daycare and they met, you know, a teacher in daycare, or maybe another parent, or it could be even, you know, a school teacher. You come to, you know, to your child's school and you meet somebody over there. Could be something like this as well. Sixth house, it's some work environment. A person could be an employee, you know, could be a secretary, so you could work together. Or also, I see sometimes a person can be maybe your nurse who is taking care of you. So that's actually happens sometimes too. But most of the time it's some kind of work environment. Seventh house is very much like a first house, but it's just gonna be like the opposite situation. Maybe the other person is a client, or you're gonna be a client or a patient. So yeah, again, it's some kind of either business relationships or client or patient relationship, something like that. Then eighth and 12th house, that's where we had probably the most strange situations, some weird circumstances how people met. I had a lady who told me that she met her husband after you know, her house got damaged during hurricane, and the husband came from this, you know, organization, you know, that is helping with you know, recovery from some sudden nature events, whatever it is. So that's how she met him. So it's often some kind of strange situations how people meet. I don't know. I haven't met anybody who met, during funerals or anything like that. Although, life-death situations could be possible. Why not? Ninth house. Most of the time, I see people meet at the university, or it could be some kind of student and a teacher relationship. Maybe somebody was your mentor. So most of the time something like this happen. Also, it's very common now to meet in religious places like, churches, especially for Jew. I had a few Jewish couples who met through the synagogue. Maybe your pastor also could introduce. So that's all ninth house. 10th house, again, it's work environment, that work affair, or some kind of maybe work conferences, work parties, something like this. 11th house, again, could be any kind of social network, of, like I said, internet, through friends, or maybe some kind of, also I've seen some kind of conferences that especially, have this humanitarian background. I've seen people met through volunteering in this case. Maybe they were volunteering in a pet shelter or doing something to protect the environment. So I've seen placements in 11th house in this case. 12th house together with the 9th house, by the way. You could meet a person in a foreign land. Also, it's very common nowadays, yoga, meditation classes. Although it's mostly women over there, but yeah, sometimes guys come over there too. It could be a hospital, but most of the time people met somebody in the foreign land. That's what I've seen. Also, in my personal case, and I've seen it many times, besides Jupiter and Venus, when you really meet the one, oftentimes Rahu plays a prominent role in this during this time. Like in my case, when I met my first husband, I had a Rahu return. And the second time, and actually he was the second one, I think, was supposed to be the only one. I just wasn't patient because I had a long delay in my chart for marriage. So it's a lot of people would not wait till 36 to get married. So yeah, the second time I met my husband, it was 18 years apart, and I even forgot about that something like this already happened 18 years ago. So the second time it was big, actually. I had a Rahu return. I had a Jupiter return at the same time. And I had some smaller transits of Venus and Mars. So there was a lot of going on when it happened second time. So that, well, why Rahu? Because Rahu, these are the things that we, really focused on, our obsession. So also Rahu has to do, I see a lot of times, with events that are kind of fated, when you feel like it's meant to be, oftentimes Rahu is involved. So that's something I wanted to point out. Yeah, so this very simple technique seems to work very well for people a lot of times. and you don't have to be, you know, any professional astrologer to see that. Okay, so if I have any other interesting topic on astrology of relationships, I will make another video. If you have any questions, comment below or write me an email, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.